Jay Ray, the account director at Hype, guides
Hello.
DeFi and Web3 project through branding, community building, and token launch strategy. Then we have Silvio Ventre, head of innovation at Euro Immobiliare Asset Management, SGR, and startup mentor at Startup Geek. Lorenzo Amoroso is the head of operation at Hercle, a crypto trading scale-up operations such as broker-dealer and OTC desk. Then again, Vugar, COO, operating officer at BitGet, scaling the exchange to 120 million people. Guys, Jay is the moderator. He has the power. Enjoy it. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome there, Gaudenzio. And GM, everybody, hope you're having a great day. Hopefully we can finish this session off with a big one before we go out and enjoy our evenings. But yeah, we've got some OGs on stage. Interestingly enough, I know there was a small intro there, but I'd really like it just to go around, just a quick couple lines about your role and what you're currently doing. That's all right?
Yeah.
Just a quick intro.
Yeah, that's fine. As Jonat said before, we are an OTC desk liquidity provider. So basically, we run B2B business in execution, specialized especially in forex stuff like stable to fiat settlement. And so, I mean, we can manage it through accessing lots of trading venue like from DeFi to checks and aggregators. And yeah, that's basically what we do. We are man in the middle between, I mean, institutional and all the trading venues.
Thank you, Lorenzo. And then Vugar, if you want to jump in. And Vugar actually we used to work together at Being Crypto, no?
Exactly. I think like Being Crypto is a trampoline, and the same applies for BitGet. And hello for the Jacob.
Hello, Jacob.
Also. BitGet is a truly Web3 company, literally and virtually serving everyone, depending on a need. As a centralized exchange, we're the second largest, serving proudly 120 million users, moving $20 billion every day, which puts us by the market cap around third or fourth largest exchange, digital asset marketplace. And on decentralized front, with BitGet Wallet, we serve another 80 million users. We move $12 billion again every day. We are the most beloved decentralized wallet, surpassing both MetaMask and Trust Wallet, and serving 500,000 users, listing 500,000 project and serving another 80 million users there. Totally, we are a true army of crypto lovers. And I always say in this kind of events, I think BitGet doesn't need an introduction because almost everyone has BitGet, either exchange or wallet, one way or another.
Thank you. And Silvio.
So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here again, also this year. Let me spend some few words about my employees, my employers. Euro Immobiliare Asset Manager, asset management is an asset management in Italy. We basically invest money. We create funds, investment funds. So traditional finance. We are an institutional traditional finance. We are part of Credito Emiliano Group. Credito Emiliano Group, you may know, is one of the largest banks in Italy. We are exploring a lot of trends here in the blockchain space in general. We did some experimentation during decentralized finance and also real-world asset tokenization. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do for sure. And I'm happy here to be here to expose my point of view about the technology itself and also talk about decentralized finance opportunities and so on.
Thank you so much. And just on a final note, my name's Jay, account director at Hype Partners. So we do the go-to-market for TGEs. So we support token generation events. If anybody is launching a token or launching a product, come and speak to me after. So, you know what's interesting is we have some industry players from all over the space. And I think it's really important that we talk about DeFi because it's something that's really at the core of what we do in this space, which is essentially creating financial freedom for us all as individuals. So what a better way to start out than tell you about the Cypherpunks manifesto. Now, who in the audience knows about Cypherpunks? Nobody knows about Cypherpunks? Oh, there we go. Gaudenzio, thank you, right? So just imagine in 1992, some players like Eric Hayes, you have Hal Finney, you have Adam Back, some of the original cryptographers of the world were developing a movement called Cypherpunks. They were all coders, but they had one true message. Let me set the scene for you guys. So long before Facebook, long before the great firewalls of China, long before Snowden revelations, the cypherpunks saw it coming. They foretold of a regime of online censorship and surveillance that would eclipse not only the internet, but according to, there was one tool to ensure internet's freedom, and that was cryptography. And if we look at the way cryptography and blockchain is supporting the decentralized financial market as we see it today, we can see that this movement has been going on since the 90s. So I want to jump, first of all, straight into you guys and ask you a very sort of personal question. How did you find DeFi, and what drew you to the industry itself when you found it?
Yeah, I mean, we found it in some years ago. I am back in university days when I was like young and you started trying stuff and losing money because it's part of the game to better understand how everything is works. And I mean, big steps are coming from the past days to now. I think now the environment is really more I would say, don't want to say institutional because it's not institutional, but I want to say more standardized for some point of view. So right now the problem shift from infrastructure to, I mean, more UX experience, more services, what we can build and when we can like reach what we have already with the TradFi. So it's more like how we can reach everything and like shift some of, I mean, traditional finance to the new one. So that's basically what I think about that.
Thank you.
For me, the future is truly decentralized, but the same way when you deep dive into water, if you hit the bottom, you can just push yourself up. And I think we are in that period where we started with an idea of peer-to-peer, right? The Satoshi and the white paper, an idea was a truly peer-to-peer, cut all the middleman. Now we are in an era where institutions come in and we see the hyper-centralization. But once this hyper-centralization and institutions come in and legislations put the frameworks in place, I think we will be once again seeing how fast we become decentralized, because it is the only possible way to challenge the current financial system unless we bring in institutions, they still apply the same strategy. Now we all take advantage of technology, but the end user doesn't feel that effect in them. If this happens, definitely it means we are just putting the traditional finance, some of my colleagues, on chain, making it fast, but then institutions scoop the money, scoop the profits. It's great for a shareholder value, but end user doesn't get anything. As users, especially if we talk retail, definitely decentralization is the only way that we have to reach in order to make sure that we all have our financial freedom, financial ideology, because you remember we always were pitching this, your seed phrase, your wallet, not your seed phrase, you're not wallet. But imagine your seed phrase, yes, all your wallet, but for every transaction you have to go to a centralized place. Then it means it's still not yours, right? Someone else decides whether you can come and sell it there or not. In order to eliminate this one way or another, we will need decentralization. We are just yet to see how it's going. And I believe the speed of the centralization we see now will fast track us to the era where we see this similar high speed decentralization that will propel the user onboarding to the decentralized side.
Actually, decentralization, it's let's say we came up into different way on the concept of decentralization. From a personal perspective, I came up with decentralization just because I'm a tech guy behind a financial institutional role. I was really curious about the exchanging, the way you can exchange money, you can exchange value in a decentralized way. Instead, from a professional perspective, we seen an opportunity in order to change the actual model business model. just because you can create with decentralization and with blockchain in general different business models, different use cases, even considering the traditional assets that we have, that are the main assets in the world in general. So I totally agree with all the colleagues here. Decentralization, it's kind of an opportunity, in particular for the financial institutions in Italy, all over the world in general. But it's a trend to observe at the moment, but it's quite slow from my perspective, from a business perspective, from a financial institutional. Just because the main assets are still traditional assets, are still classical equities, bonds, multi-asset funds, funds of funds, and so on. So we started, for example, with an automated market maker. We came up also thanks to universities in Italy. We did some projects in like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, with all the institutional major components of the Italian sector. And we built an automated market maker for institutional in a decentralized way. It was really interesting to do it, but it was just an experimentation, just because we didn't have real assets in order to develop some businesses.
Thank you. And you know what I'm hearing a recurring theme here is that it's almost the balance of DeFi. Hello? Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll just wait 1 minute while we get going. Yes.
One-
Can you?
sure.
Oh,
No,
no.
it doesn't.
Hello. Oh,
Hey.
wow. Wow, my voice
Cool.
is really loud. Oh my God. Okay, so the recurring theme that I'm hearing here is I'm gonna have to. Is that not a bit loud? Okay, so the recurring theme that I'm hearing is the institutional side of the space kind of encroaching on what DeFi really stands for. And this segues perfectly into another question I have, which was, how centralized is DeFi becoming? Because when you really think about it on an infrastructure side, when it comes to storing on centralized cloud servers, leveraging centralized LLMs, what direction does that take us? Where do we end up from here? Because the whole movement started as a way to defend our privacy and security. And what I do feel is what I refer to as the centralization of the sacred chain. We're moving very, very quickly because money moves markets. So the more institutional players we bring into this space, the more that they can manipulate those markets. And I worry that that pushes retail investors out of the space further. So my question before I blab on too much is, how do you think institutional players are going to change and mold the space, and whether that will benefit us in the long run, or whether it's actually going to hinder us as little guys in the space?
I start? Should I start? Yeah, I think it's a long journey to institution to come. I mean, to be a part of the DeFi side. It's gonna go step to step. Right now we have some institutions that already invest in crypto or do some services mainly related to custodies and tokenization. I mean, we are not even there, in my opinion, but we are coming through step. I think that bring institutions in the DeFi side is gonna meaning like exploding the overall infrastructure, since I think it's not even ready to take those amount of money. We are talking about trillions and trillions if we talk about payments world, or capital markets world. If we want to take it in a decentralized way and like shift everything into the decentralized world, I think we are not ready right now, but we are going through them. We have some, I would say, maturity problem regarding infrastructure, regarding risk management, compliance stuff, email, all the stuff that institution like need. So is gonna change everything, I think, and it's gonna also change the way in which we see DeFi as for now. I think institutional DeFi is gonna be a little different from what we have right now, but we are going through those steps.
Let's put things into perspective. I think it's better, yeah. Let's put things into perspective. For example, at BitGet, we take a huge pride that we move $20 billion every day, which makes us third largest exchange in terms of volume. While Citibank or HSBC, that bank's government, does this in a single transaction for single government in a single day. You have to understand how far this scale or scalability is. Same applies for another experience, like BitGet is 7 years old. First 5.5 years, we didn't have any institutional offering. Year and a half ago, we started doing institutional offering. Today, 80% of all the action in our spot market happens by the institutions. Institutions mean a huge volume, a huge market cap, but also access to scalability and very sudden scalability. Therefore, institutions and institutional grade solutions are very important, whether we like it or not. And if today, I don't know, last 2.5 years, 3 years, centralized exchanges start introducing market making and all the other traditional financial aspects, and today market making is very fragmented, while the largest market maker in US every day does around $400 billion worth trades, while it is more than entire crypto together, and it's just a single market maker in a traditional aspect. In this sense that we start celebrating since the ETF, the institutions coming in, today we have to kind of understand how we survive without letting them eat us up. Because at this point, it's not only crypto institutions that are emerging, this is actually traditional institutions that start adopting this BlackRocks, it is Fidelities, it is family offices, and everyone like us have this sudden jump. I don't know, some hedging Bitcoin, some doing something else, some scooping the market. I know even there are some institutions that are doing pump and dump, meme tokens, anything and everything within that spectrum. Because traditionally the finance industry, nevertheless, they were always strict, regulated. They always were open to speculation, making money, and if there's money, there will be some crazy guy who wants to and go do it and get it. When we match all this energy with the decentralization, first of all, achieving full decentralization is very hard for two key aspects. Aspect number one is you will always need someone to run the infrastructure and to make sure this shop runs the same way. Even traditionally, today we are in a chapel, traditionally even religious institutions, they always had someone to run that institution because first of all, it makes money when someone runs it. Second of all, it's very hard to rely on communal good or community to come to something else. Therefore, you can never have like a fully autonomous decentralized world unless, I don't know, AI agents develop and then you have a decentralized world run by AI. This is one scenario. And second key point, that decentralization always runs on this like a smart contracts kind of fulfilling each other. But we always forget a key important point that yes, goods have certain value, right? Today, we all know that Bitcoin is above 120, but not always you have at the same time two parties willing, one to sell and another to buy. That's why all the market makers come in, and that's why even if you will have a full decentralized platform, there will be a lot of centralized factors and institutions who come and play in. If you top it with all this MicroStrategy and big whales that scoop Bitcoin, and we are now seeing that how much influence they have in Bitcoin's price and everything else going on, even though if you can have this autonomously running infrastructure, once someone gains a significant portion, they dominate the narrative and they dominate everything else coming in place. To wrap or to sum up my whole idea is that even though in theory fully decentralization is possible, I don't think it is achievable in that naive sense unless everyone in this room holds the same portion of voting right and same portion of the allocation, which mathematically not possible. Then you will always have someone, even though system is decentralized, someone with a dominating voice. And simple example to this would be, yes, Bitcoin is autonomously running system. But today you have MicroStrategy who buys a lot of tokens, and nothing will stop them if they come and tell that we're gonna sell 20% of allocation. Panic sell will happen, price will go down, and they will go just buying more, and no one can stop them doing this kind of a manipulation. And we saw how President Trump and his allies did it before with both stock market and the crypto market. Therefore, even though the system is decentralized, centralized powers have more control over the narrative and processes than just system autonomously running itself. And when we talk about decentralization, we should always think about not only how system runs itself autonomously, but is it truly decentralized, or there is still a higher power that can shift the paradigm or shift the next step?
Actually,
We can move forward. Yeah, so by no means do you all need to answer every question, because the second part of the questions are the exciting part that we're coming to. Some of the different products that are available in the space, for example, for retail investors and so on. But what I want to jump into before we do that is just this ecosystem where these protocols are available for people. Now, we do have the Ethereum EVM, Ethereum virtual machine, to thank for many of that. The ecosystem of decentralized apps that allow us in many ways to access the internet in different ways. So something Vitalik has said along, and even Gavin Wood himself, Ethereum is essentially the new internet. And when you combine that with the fact that we're in Web 3.0 right now, we're also in the 5th generation of blockchain. And what I wanted to ask you guys before we move into some of the products that are available is, how important are these sort of layer 3 protocols, these user interfaces in driving adoption in the space and onboarding new users? And then once we've done that, we will jump into some of those products. So Silvio, do you want to start first?
actually, user interface and user experience for almost all the products in the market, in every market, is the key point of success of an application. At the moment, DeFi is completely difficult to use for a normal use, for a normal person, let's say, for an everyday use, daily use. UI and UX could be one of the key points that all the providers can use in order to enhance the capabilities and make people understand what can they do with the decentralized infrastructure. But I want to add also some other aspect. I mean, sometimes there's like separation between something that it is institutional and something that is decentralized. At the end of the day, if you want to use something, an application to exchange value, you are going to use a sort of institutional platform. I mean, you are going to use a platform, and behind there is an infrastructure. At the very end of the journey, every kind of institution could adopt, maybe because it's, I don't know, they can perform better, or they can use in a better way data, infrastructure, and so on. Every platform could be powered by an infrastructure, a decentralized infrastructure. At the moment, there is a separation between the two trends, the two topics, and that's the pain point, I would say, of the industry. So UI could be one point. The second one is that actually decentralization, it's an infrastructure. It's like a feature of an infrastructure that could be run by an institution like BitGet, like mine. I mean, in my case, it's quite difficult because we are not a Web3 company. We are not an institutional company. How to say? We try to be innovators in our sector, but in not in a strong way, let's say. So we explore a lot of things in the market, talking about blockchain and so on. But at the end, every kind of institution like mine should adopt decentralization. Decentralization as an infrastructure, not as a product. And that's the key point. And UI is extremely related to the company that is going to run the decentralization behind their infrastructure, their products, and so on. Of course,
Definitely.
AI could help a lot in that.
I like the way you put that there, and I think I was reading something last week, but if you don't capture someone's attention in 7 seconds, if they're using a new app, then they will never visit that app again. So it's so important. Some of the product designers out there, some of the people that build and develop, refine user interfaces and dashboards, their job is so important and so key in the space. Now, because we're running a little bit low on time, I wanted to jump into some of the nuts and the bolts of DeFi. So who in the audience uses DeFi protocols? For example, yield-bearing mechanisms, liquidity pools. Anybody in the audience currently leveraging those kind of DeFi products? Oh, there we go, Gaudencio. Yeah, so what I wanted to say, and I know all of you work in an industry where we leverage those personally. We also work with those. For example, OTC deals that you're doing, we're going to come to that after this question. But my question is, those types of DeFi products, how easily accessible are they for everyday retail investors? And do you think that there's a bit of a walled garden around the kind of staking mechanisms and yield-bearing mechanisms that institutional players are leveraging compared to consumer investors?
Yeah, I can go with that. Yeah, let's say that as you said, for now it's more on a retail side, and I mean on what Silvio said on the UX, you can have even the best product built on backend, no downtime, not perfect, but if you don't give to user a good user experience, you can't reach I mean majority of people, and you for sure can't reach like institutional stuff. In Ercol, in the OTC side, we see lots of institutions that right now want to start doing something, but they want to do in a safe environment, and yeah, even if DeFi is growing from an infrastructure point of view, they have some lacks. DeFi have some lacks in especially on the risk side and risk management, and institution, especially financial institution, cannot deal with this risk. So that's why you need company in the middle that can help in I mean in accessing this world. So I would love to call it like DeFi enablers for TradFi actors. Let's say like this. You cannot go directly through yielding protocol and stuff if you are a bank. I mean, compliance will kill you. But you can rely on some actors that can facilitate the accessing on those type of product that I mean are really good product. If we talk about even collateralization of loan or yielding or something, it's like you can think about there are TradFi products that are really similar to stake yielding stuff, no? I mean, so it's just a shift of risk and of compliance. So as for now, you for sure need actors that facilitate this for financial institution. Do you want to talk?
Honestly, I think the question is a little bit needs to be reformulation. For example, one thing is decentralization is very fragmented. For example, today we don't say that, oh, as a retail user I use Stripe, but probably 60%, 70% of every time I do any online checkout and I buy something, Stripe is what processes that payment. The same way, we don't go and tell that I use X ATM network, right? You go just put your card, take your cash, and go on with your life. What we are missing at this point in decentralization is that gluing element where decentralization becomes a solution, becomes a platform, and then there are service providers. And on the forefront, we don't see and we don't feel that fragmentation. But today, if you want to decentrally stake something, loan something, you have to call to different providers. What we did in BitGet that actually helped us to grow, especially with BitGet Wallet, where today BitGet wallet, I always say it is not just a wallet, it's kind of a hybrid wallet similar to an exchange, because you can go through dApps, you can go buy and have an access so many decentralized exchanges. You can buy, you can sell, you can take advantage of staking, you can get your airdrops in the single user experience, in the single user interface. As a user, you don't have to go to 20 places to do one coherent action. Instead, you just command that provider that acts as a glue, and then on the back end, that provider goes and does all these actions on your behalf on these decentralized platforms. Once we overcome that fragmentation, life will become much easier, because as a user, you don't have to, it's very complicated to onboard to any, even like a taxes, it's very complicated. You use any of these staking platforms, terms and conditions, how things work, or you have to invest a lot of time to understand consensus mechanism. Depends what is it is. And as a retail user, probably you don't have a time the same way you never read terms and conditions of Facebook when you sign up or any other platform. And in my opinion, we are in a huge need in this hybrid model, where we will have either like a centralized platforms, or any kind sort of a service provider can glue all the decentralized products together. And as a user, I don't have to go to 20 doors to open, one place, rather than just having everything in single place. And I think if we do that, we will be able to solve both institutional side of the things and retail side of the things.
I've got the very selective. God, my voice is loud. My apologies, guys. Yeah, so I've got a question for you now, Silvio, especially regarding what your organization does with the OTC side of things. So what role does OTC trading play in bridging DeFi liquidity with institutional demand? And do you think that there's any friction points in terms of those OTC desks compared to the sort of traditional financial markets in the DeFi sense?
Well, so the question is about how traditional finances get an influence.
Exactly.
Okay. If I could answer with a number, today is more or less zero, just because just talking about numbers, the total investment funds financial sector is about 128 trillions of dollars, and the total value locked in the decentralized finance sector in general is about 100 billion. So it's a lot, but it's the 0.11% of the sector. And so that's just to say that decentralization, all the terms, the facts related to the blockchain industry from a financial perspective, because when we are talking about decentralized finance, we are talking about finance. And finance is still finance. All the money in the world are actually all in financial institutions like mine, like the major ones like BlackRock, Fidelity, and the other hundreds and hundreds financial institutions. So basically, at the moment, the influence is more or less zero. If we look at the numbers of the total value locked that is inside the decentralization focus. So basically, I would say we are at the beginning of the trend. So it's interesting to observe the trend, but we need at least 10 years, in my opinion, in order to have a real shift. And the real shift will happen when we started as an institution to tokenize the real world assets, and in particular funds. Just because all the money is on funds of funds, SICAV, which is Luxembourg funds. Since the moment we will not have this kind of infrastructure, we cannot extract the real value from the centralization as an infrastructure. So yeah, basically, I would say it's zero.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? We do have some, I know you want to talk about this a little bit, Lorenzo, so please jump in.
No, just to jump in on the OTC desk side and to add a little point can faster the discussion here. I think that OTC desk can bridge the gap that right now is one of the major gap of DeFi, which is liquidity fragmentation. We have liquidity fragmented through really different protocols and different, I will say, DEX checks and similar. So what OTC desk can do in order to help especially institution to enter in this world is trying to aggregate liquidity. There are some protocols that are start using it also intent based protocol like swap and stuff. But I mean, you need actors that can rely on multiple venue and can try to bridge and I would say aggregate all the liquidity because otherwise it's gonna be difficult to have those type of institution. If you think about a fund that wants to like exchange 50 million, I mean, even between like liquidity token, but I mean, it's difficult to make it in the DeFi today. You can do as a retail, you can do small amounts, it's good, and lots of circulating tokens. But on the other side, if you want to make big deal with big sites, it's difficult. So that's why you need actor in the middle and that can aggregate liquidity. So that's basically.
A very specific question to end with. And I suppose as the DeFi markets are always constantly changing, you know, as they say, we're in the trenches. I think we're actually in the jungle because we never leave. Trenches implies you leave. But AI is now a huge, huge industry that's even setting DeFi at lightning speed. Now, technology in emerging markets has always been pushing us and driving us forwards at lightning speed, but AI is now driving that even faster. And what do you think the AI space will bring to blockchain and specifically to DeFi? And how is that going to change the markets over the coming years? For you, Silvio, first, and then I wanted to ask you, Vugar, how BitGet is staying ahead of the curve in the competition by leveraging AI itself. But Silvio, if you want to.
Thanks for the question. Actually, we talked about this aspect also during this morning, during a workshop for AI, about AI. Actually, AI in this business could have a crucial role just because AI, it's easy to understand, even though behind AI, there are a lot of neural networks, engineering stuff, very difficult to understand, very technical. But artificial intelligence is easier to understand instead of blockchain or decentralized finance and so on. So in my opinion, AI could transform or play a role for the user interface and user experience in front of the infrastructure behind. So at the moment, as I was saying before, decentralization is still so much technical, so it's not for everyone. Of course, when we are talking about finance, we are talking about everyone in the world. But when the platform that people have to use in order to perform transaction or create wealth, for example, if it's so much technical, they will not going to use it. So thanks to all the AI wave that we are living here in this period, could help, of course, infrastructures, companies like BitGet or like also the real infrastructure like Uniswap, for example, to create better interfaces with a easy to understand user experience in order to make people easy, at least the part of using an application. Then AI could play also another role into the educational aspect, because we have a problem with financial education in general. So in particular in Italy, but I mean, the trend is worldwide. People doesn't know a lot of concepts, a lot of doesn't have information about how to manage their money. And that's the second problem. Maybe with AI, you can onboard people in a different way. You can make people understand how they can manage money in a different way, using a different infrastructure, but avoiding saying something so much technical. So in my opinion, AI could simplify the explanation of the usage, of the educational aspect behind the decentralization, behind money, behind finance. So it's a very broad aspect, but in my opinion, AI could help a lot to reduce the time to market, the real time to market of the decentralization worldwide and also in Italy, I would say.
For us, we are at the forefront of AI adoption as a company. I think we are the most AI-empowered exchange. We were the first one to apply AI to fight scams and deepfakes, and that's why we never had any serious tech breach. We are the first one to introduce AI trading bots that can actually handle trades for you. Today, we introduce Get Agent. It's your AI agent that can analyze your portfolio, do suggestions, and many other things. AI is definitely something huge, and it is a leap forward in technology. But there's one key point that we all are still missing. Whether you are trading, whether you are prompting ChatGPT to write better emails for you, AI is very expensive to run, and for now, we haven't paid the gas fee. In crypto, whatever you do, you already pay for that transaction, but AI got more investment over the time than entire crypto industry, and users haven't actually paid for that service to run, whether it's running a node, electricity cost, and anything else. Once we start paying, AI will be super dependent on AI, and AI will be so expensive. We will be all kind of living on a rent and paying rent kind of a money. We have to understand AI is cool, AI is amazing, but energy fee and running that node and infrastructure fee is very high. And I always give this example that people ask me like, oh, can we reach in a state where AI will be doing all the trades? We just give AI $100,000. They make millions over the time. I say, yes, probably AI will be able to do that, but running cost of AI might be much higher than that profit, which will eventually make a zero-sum game. And at the end, you will be in a minus paying for that running nodes and GPU prices and electricity. And that's why I believe even for the future, trading will be the only job that humans can still outperform the AI, because we are emotional, we have a better understanding. And let's not forget key point that AI is trained to do a task. As humans, we have the liberty to choose not to do something. AI, if made to trade, it will continue to trade because it only can trade. AI can't not trade. As a humans, even if we are traders, we can choose a day not to trade because we are not here programmed to trade all the day in any market circumstance, because AI will always try to make the most profit in any situation, while humans, we do emotional decisions. And at the end of the day, having AI is good, but factoring a cost of an AI is very important. That, in my opinion, we are missing a lot today. And once we factor in that cost, it will become a very cool debate to discuss whether it is expensive to develop something like blockchain technology, or is the whole investment to the AI is worth. But at this point, I believe, because governments are involved and politics are involved, and it's becoming like kind of a tech warfare. We see all the governments putting a lot of money to be ahead of the other governments, and societies being ahead of other societies. But the impact will be devastating once we start paying for it, because we are the end user at the end of the day.
Right. Well, you know what? We may have a couple of minutes for questions, but before we do that, I just wanted to say a big thank you to our speakers, because we really uncovered quite a huge area in the DeFi space, and I think something I wanted to follow up on what you said, Silvio, is that there's so many opportunities now to build in crypto without being right. So AI and no-code toolkit. For example, if you guys want to check any of Zade, Alchemy toolkit, you can go software to build your own app. You can launch your own tokens on yield aggregator platforms, on fun. There's a whole plethora of things that you can do in this space to get your And the final question that I have is, DeFi means to me is self-sovereignty. So what self-sovereignty means is that essentially you can be your own bank. You don't have to pay taxes the way you're paying them currently. You can travel freely, you can create financial freedom and run yourself as a business, and then in turn run yourself as a bank. So I wanted to ask you all, what does DeFi mean to you? Maybe a little bit of alpha to let people go away today, and then we'll open up for one question from the audience. So yeah, what does DeFi mean to you?
A really wide question here. As you said, I see real innovation there. And what does it mean? It's yeah, but I mean, in a much more, I would say, if I have to say a couple of words on that, it's like accessibility, transparency. So it's like changing the way you always see stuff, especially on the financial point of view. You also talk about sovereign identity. So I mean, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. It's same, or not your data. It's really similar. So you have lots of so you have lots of point to grow and do better. But on the other side, there is space. You have already covered part, but you have space too.
Just building on that idea of an AI before, just it came to my mind because AI can build you a website, can earn you money, but what AI can't do is open a bank account. But with DeFi, AI can open a wallet and start earning money. And I think with DeFi, we will see more rich AIs than humans, and that will be a very interesting topic to discuss. We better start taxing AI.
Let me say that's I hate this kind of question because it's really difficult to find the perfect words, keywords. I don't have keywords actually. It depends by the point of views, in my opinion. So if you look DeFi from, for example, your point of view, yes, self-sovereign or accessibility, transparency, fair enough. But from a business perspective, I remain to the concept about infrastructure. I see an infrastructure that can enable new business models. Maybe not now, but in the future could be for sure the new infrastructure in order to create new typologies of funds or something like that. So I would say as a keyword, business. Because we are talking about finance, and about finance, we are talking about money. With money, we can do a lot of stuff. As humans, as investors, as professional, and so on, as people.
Amazing, thank you for your answers. And I just a little point to go away with now is that during these iterations of technology that we have, for example, we're in the 5th generation of blockchain, but we're in the 3rd generation of the internet. We're actually not in the 3rd generation of the internet anymore, and we're in Web 4.0 currently. And the reason why we're in Web 4 now, I believe probably for the last 6 months, is that Web 4 is all about leveraging augmented and virtual reality, utilizing AI with blockchain and the internet. So if you look at the way that the ecosystem of decentralized apps operates currently as in its existing form, we've actually already evolved into the next iteration of the web. So we're in Web 4.0. The world is just not telling you that yet. So we're going to be hearing a lot more about Web 4.0 over these coming years because agentic AI is essentially building that. And what agentic AI means is it means that the AI is operating on your behalf. So AI in its existing format is changing. So we're actually in the 4th generation of AI now, which is agentic AI. And that's something to watch out for because that's when AI can then, like you said, set up wallets, trade for you, make decisions for you. And to watch this next era of AI evolve is really going to be something special and maybe a little bit scary as well, but we'll see where it goes. So first of all, does anybody have a question for our esteemed speakers? I know somebody here must have a question. It could be around DeFi, it could be around AI. Oh, of course he does, of course he does.
Okay, all right. I have a question. Talking about AI, they will be able to replicate themselves they will be able to deploy smart contracts and grow like a swarm. What do you think about this Oblivion question, Oblivion vision?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's possible, but
When I was kid, my dad first time bought is a copy machine, and there's a very good experiment. If you just put a white paper and make a copy of white paper, then make a copy of a paper, and it becomes completely black at the end. It means when you copy something over and over again, it loses its value, and I think that will happen with AI. If AI doesn't learn from humans or other sources and become generic, then they will be just doing the same thing over and over again, and it will become zero-sum game, because if we all go do the same trade, if we all open sell, then price goes to the down because no one is buying, and the same will happen with the AI. I think that is the danger, and that's why we will need more human-generated knowledge to train more agents on AI, because AI also can't be trained on AI-generated information, and today we are very much polluting the entire ecosystem with all the synthetic knowledge, because AI makes a lot of fake facts, and if you learn on that fake facts, then you just become nonsense.
so do we have any more questions? Oh, yes, Edmund. Let's go.
With AI taking over the world slowly, do you think we're potentially creating cryptocurrencies for AIs to use more than humans actually using it themselves? Like as potentially currencies for them to interact and transact with themselves?
His question was,
Edmund?
do you think that AI is developing cryptocurrencies specifically for their ecosystems, for their blockchains that they're leveraging? That's a good question, Edmund. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I think that's even possible with smart guidelines and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day is how to use it. So if you can use very well and with control, you can do basically anything right now with the AI. We already see really good strategy on trading and stuff. So I mean, why not? Do you have some?
Right, thank you so much. Unless there's any other questions, we're going to call it a day. Massive round of applause for our speakers today, guys. Thank you. And a huge round of applause to the whole team, the coordinators.
Well,
Gaudencio,
thank
look
you,
at that
thank you,
smile,
Jay.
bro.